Tonight's bold question, does the excluded evidence prove the doctor killed his wife? There's a whole bunch of evidence the jury in Provo, Utah will never see or hear, including prior alleged bad acts by Dr. MacNeill, testimony from his mistress's roommates, sketches made by his daughter, allegations from his other woman. All this being kept from this jury in Utah. But does this excluded evidence prove the doctor killed his wife? The Dark defense disagrees, and they say no. This evidence does not prove the doctor is a killer. Let's begin with one word from our experts. One word to describe what the jury won't see. Trinity Hundredmark.
Irrelevant.
Let's start with Dr. MacNeill and this guy's past. And let's begin with him in the military. He spends 2 years in the military, right? Gets himself discharged for a disability, some sort of psychiatric problem that he allegedly has. Collects $3,000 a month, collects over $100,000 for this disability, yet he's able to go to medical school, go to law school, be a doctor, be a lawyer, raise 8 kids. Come on, the guy's a fraud.
Well, just because he had a disability doesn't mean he didn't actually have one. I mean, he may very well have had one. I think we'll all agree he's a little crazy.
That's right, he did have. After his wife dies, he takes his adopted daughter from beautiful Pleasant Grove, Utah, and ships her back to the Ukraine? Why does he do that? Well, because he wants to give his daughter's identity to who? His mistress, Gypsy, the motive in this case.
But none of this proves murder, none of it. So he's got some shady past, and I think they admitted in opening. He's not a nice guy, and you're not going to like him, but it doesn't mean he's a murderer.
I
wish they were going to see this evidence.
No, it tells me Gypsy could, but she wouldn't, and frankly, gentleman Dr. Mack could, would, and did.
But
he killed her.
She admitted she wanted to do it. There's a motive there. Just as much as Dr. MacNeill had.
He did it for her as much as he did it
I think
to
she could
his
have done
wife.
it. There was no alibi that's come out yet. I think it's very possible. I wish the jury had heard.
No, she does.
We have no way to know if it's the truth, and that's why it's unreliable.
But just give me this. I want one reason why a man's daughter would accuse him of murder if he didn't do it.
There's no reason.
Would say, Mom, why? What's the reason for her to lie? She wants to frame her father? She wants to have no parents?
People do it all the time. They allege that their fathers have molested them. They do things all the time, especially girls and their fathers.
Look, knowing what we know.
He drowned his own brother in the tub when he was trying to commit suicide. Attempted to kill his mother by putting pills into her beer, medication, so she was unknowingly taking medication. This sounds awfully familiar to me, doesn't it?
Yes, it
reminds me of some case, Ryan. I'm not sure which case it reminds me of. Why is that?
But you're talking about a woman who has multiple personality disorders. She has a mental illness. She's schizophrenic. She has up to 5 personalities. But in this case, you can't say take what she's saying.
No, but his girlfriend.
If he had tried to do it, he'd have done it and not got caught.
He didn't get caught.
He did. He's on
They
trial for
arrested him.
murder.
He didn't get caught.
He's on trial for murder.
First he tried to true.
According to the pillow talk, his mistress. He picked his mistress.
The one who has an accident, Ryan, because she thought he was going to leave his wife for her, and he didn't. So she's upset about it, and now she's come up with these pillow talk stories.
Can we take a look at the...
You know what? Here's the problem I have. All of this in its totality, could you imagine if the jury saw this?
Yes.
What's the argument for not bringing in at least some of it?
And that's why it's not allowed in, because all of this would lead them to convict him of murder, and that's not what this is about. It doesn't prove anything about the murder.
But you're right.
There's a whole bunch of evidence the jury's not going to see or hear, including this sketch made by Dr. MacNeill's youngest daughter, Ada, who found her mom inside that tub. We're here at our recreated death scene. We've recreated what Ada has described, a fully clothed Michelle MacNeill, face up inside the tub. The reason that's significant, it's much different than what Dr. MacNeill described to his daughters, which was Michelle, face forward, leaning over into the tub. And from my perspective, the jury should have seen this, and if the jury does see this, tells me a big story about...
And she's lived with her sister the entire time, Alexis, who we know is the one that's pushing this prosecution. Even in the year afterwards, when she gave her statements to officers, she said it was, when she saw Mom, it was if she was washing her hair, which would lean to be more like that picture. If you're washing your hair in the tub, that's what it would look like. And that was very
She's so worried about money. Why would she adopt all her siblings and take care of the whole family, doing what Dr. MacNeill should be doing?
She hates her father, and she's trying to get back at him. He cheated on her mother, whom she loved, and now she's trying to get back at her.
He
This drawing was made at the request of Alexis when Alexis was pumping her with questions. When she was interviewed by the police 1 year later, she did not describe, or 1 year after, she didn't describe this scene.
Exactly.
This was
That's
4 years
because it was
later
so
after she lived with
traumatic.
Alexis.
We got something else.
Because she didn't come out and say, yes, I knew all about this, and we had the plan, and he told me he was going to kill his wife, which is what I think the jury was expecting to hear.
I think that she was very...
It was perfect.
What a great job by our in-studio jury and all our experts. That's it for HLN After Dark. Don't forget to find out what happens after the verdict. Go to HLNTV.com/afterdark.